Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, President. Okay, welcome. Thank you, sir.
Sir?
Yes.
Smriti.
Good morning to one and all. Myself, Dr. Smriti, MD Resident at Amrita Institute of Medical Sciences, Kochi. On behalf of IIDBL Kerala, would like to extend a warm welcome to one and all gathered for the International Women's Day online CME organized by IIDBL Kerala. International Women's Day is celebrated on 8th of March, a day when women are recognized for their achievements without regard to any divisions, whether national, ethnic, linguistic, economical, or political. The United Nations theme for this year is Digit All, Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality. I now invite Dr. Anuradha K. Babu, Secretary, Kerala IITBL, to give us the welcome speech. Over to you, ma'am.
Good morning, friends. Thank you, Smriti. Good morning, friends. Am I audible?
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, Anuradha.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
On behalf of Executive Committee of IIDBL Kerala, I extend a warm, happy Women's Day wishes to all of you. A little belated though. It's my proud privilege to welcome you all to this online CME program organized by IIDBL Kerala and Online Academic Cell of IIDBL Kerala as a part of celebrating International Women's Day of 2023. I greatly appreciate the efforts of Online Academic Cell, especially the chairperson, Dr. Vinita, convener, Dr. Joanne, it's in this meeting. We are happy that we've got very eminent speakers for today, especially Dr. Neena Khanna, ma'am. Ma'am, we welcome you. It's a pleasure to have you here. Former Dean of AIMS New Delhi, and she's currently the HOD of Amrita Department of Dermatology, Amrita Hospitals, Faridabad. Thank you. I welcome Dr. Maya. Senior Consultant Dermatologist at YCDC Trivandrum, and to this program. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you all here. And I welcome all the delegates to this meeting. Let's have a wonderful time. I'm sure our speakers will give you some real good pearls of knowledge and wisdom. And last but not the least, let us not forget to embrace equity, the theme of the year of International Women's Day. And let's make this world a beautiful place to live.
Thank you, ma'am. I now invite Dr. M. Faisal, President, Kerala IITBL, for the inauguration and presidential address. Over to you, sir.
A very good morning to you all. It is my pleasure to inaugurate this online CME organized by Executive Committee of Kerala IIDBL and Online Academic Cell of IIDBL Kerala. On this occasion of International Women's Day CME, I extend my best wishes to all the female members of IIDBL. Today, women are playing leading and significant roles in all spheres. They are setting unprecedented records. They are awakened and are holding leadership positions in many areas. Their ideas, thoughts, and values are leading to creation of happy family, ideal society, and prosperous of nation. We should respect each of them, but not because of gender, but for their own identity. Furthermore, we have to accept that both women and men contribute equally to the betterment of home and society. I am grateful for the support and hard work of all the members of online academic cell and executive committee of IIDVL Kerala. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to the faculty of today's program, Dr. Neena Khanna, Dr. Maya Vincent, and Dr. Pranaya Bagde. I wish all the success for the CME of International Women's Day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I now invite Dr. Neena Khanna, former Dean, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Delhi, Head, Department of Dermatology, Amrita Hospital, Faridabad, to give us her valuable insights of her journey from a senior resident to a dean. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you for having me for this. On this occasion, I'm a hardcore feminist, and maybe this is the right time to be speaking about my journey in dermatology and beyond. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
So my journey from being a resident to becoming the dean is nothing but a story of being at the right place at the right time. I started my undergraduation at CMC Vellore. Subsequently, I post-graduated from AIMS, and except for a brief stint at UCMS, I have continued to be at AIMS, and now recently, the last 7 months, I've been at new facility, Amrita Hospital at Faridabad, which is going to be the largest private sector hospital in Asia. Now, this is the littlest of me. I have a picture before that, but I think I was not recognizable in that. That is me as an undergrad student, me as a postgraduate student, me as a senior resident. This is my group at CMC Vellore. And interestingly, you've noticed we were actually always asked to wear a sari. So I continue to wear a sari now also. So I'm one of those rare species of dermatologists who continues to wear a sari. And that's me in the picture. Now, this is when I joined as a faculty at AIMS. So you can recognize some of the well-known dermatologists here. This is Dr. Pascal. This is Dr. Ramam. This is Dr. Kaushal, who's the present head at AIMS. This is enjoying the winter sun in one of our student who's a hair transplant surgeon. This is last December. I'm still masked when everybody else had unmasked themselves. Now, my joining CMC Vellore was actually a bit of luck. I would say a huge element of luck there, because the result of CMC Vellore was announced much before the result of all other medical schools. So off I trudged to join. Subsequently, when I got selected in AIMS, I'm a hugely frugal person, but I'd already paid the year's fee. So I said, no, I can't join AIMS. So I continued at Vellore. So I strongly feel that there was a huge amount of luck that I actually was in Vellore, learned a lot of Malayalam there because most people in Vellore were from Kerala. And I am so glad because I learned not to be administered, but unto administer. I subsequently joined my post-graduation at another iconic institution. I actually joined pediatrics, but I found the head there very, very rough and tough. So I quit and joined dermat. Now, everybody's jaw dropped and said, who joins dermatology when you've got pediatrics? But because of the head was so strong and so strict, I joined dermatology. But people started saying this is jumping from frying pan into the fire situation, because the head that time was Dr. Bhutani. I don't think any of the new generation knows about Dr. Bhutani, but he was the strictest of people you could come across. But I chose a field which was easy to get in those days and was very easy to rise. So it was easy to get a faculty position. It was easy to get your promotions in dermatology, but has since become immensely sought after. Now, this is again a lot of luck, which I would say that a field which was not very popular when I joined as a resident has now become so immensely popular that the top rankers actually get dermatology. And I was very, very happy about this also, because I always enjoyed surgery. So I could still wear my starched saris and yet get my hands bloodied. So my tip number one to people who are going through this journey now is that choose the best academic institute you can get into, because I was honed in very good institutions, CMC, Vellore and AIMS. And even if it entails that it is very, very far away. So when I joined Vellore from Delhi, it used to take almost 2 days, because we used to have these very slow trains which would go to Katpadi station. The food was something which I found it very difficult to adjust. And obviously we had to learn a very Rombo-Purdu language, new language I had to learn, Tamil, because you couldn't interact with the patients unless you knew the language. And that's how I picked up my Malayalam also. Tip number 2, choose a field which is not so popular those days and becomes easier to rise and get promotion. And cross your fingers that the subject becomes popular in the future, like happened with me. But in my journey in dermatology, I had the most amazing teachers, the most amazing gurus who were diametrically so opposite. They pulled us in different directions, and this certainly broadened our outlook. I'll walk you through the teachers who actually honed me, not only in dermatology, but in matters of life as well. So let me tell you how they did that. So we had Dr. Bhutani. Well, sorry, this is not Dr. Bhutani. This is him. That was King Hussein of Jordan, and they were actually almost looked separated at birth. So he was a strict disciplinarian who always likes things to be done in a proper and a dignified manner. He seemed very well organized. His office was meticulously clean and tidy, with all the papers duly filed. But curiously, they were never traceable when he needed them the most. So we had to actually dismantle his office almost twice a week to find something very important. Like my thesis papers, the day before I was submitting them, he asked me, can you ask for an extension, because I don't know where I've kept your papers. He always wanted people to be punctual, without, for some inexplicable reason, not being punctual himself. He was almost always late for his Tuesday morning teaching rounds, with the rare exception when I was late. This, I have a screenshot from the obit which I wrote on him in the IJDVL. But despite being a stickler for discipline, he was the most amazing teacher, and he had an amazing sense of humor. I think, again, the newer generation may not be familiar, but when we used to take pictures, we used to have this Canon camera, and we used to put in those Kodak films, which used to cost us about 350 rupees, and would take another 100 rupees to develop them. And because I was such a frugal person, I had the most amazing camera, but I never used it because I didn't want to repeatedly spend money, because 8 out of those 36 films shots would actually be ruined, because I was not very good at proficient at photography. So when digital photography came, the camera started coming. That was a boon for me, because there was an initial investment and I needn't have spent more money, because several of your shots actually were never focused. So one fine day, I took a beautiful picture of an aphthous ulcer, and I was so excited that I thought I'll send it across to Dr. Bhutani. So I asked my secretary to send the picture across, and she just wrote in the subject matter, ma'am's picture. I think it wasn't even 30 seconds when his prompt reply came, I didn't know your ma'am was so hirsute. Dr. Pasricha was another person who was so punctual that we could set our watches with his perfect timing. His punctuality spoiled many of us. We actually became so punctual that when we went, we were usually the first guest to reach a dinner invite, even before the host had actually completed the cooking and had changed for the occasion. Dr. Pandey was the man with his feet on the ground. He was okay when you residents ask for chutti. You tried asking Dr. Bhutani or Dr. Pasricha for chutti, they'll never give you. He was also okay when you sometimes forgot to do what he had asked you. He was the fourth pillar of the department, Dr. O.P. Singh. Not many of you would have heard of him, but because he was so self-effacing. But from him, we learned to sift the necessary from the unnecessary. He would tell you what to read from Rook and what not to read and what is likely to come in the exam, which slides of your presentation you should keep and which you should discard. So the initial part of my career was largely influenced by Dame Luck and these masters. So if I want to pay a tribute, so my ode would be that they taught me how subtle skin changes can be. They sensitized me to hues in skin, which I couldn't earlier see. They stood by me when I was weak. They encouraged me when I couldn't speak, gave me wings so that I could fly, showed me ways I could reach the sky. So what I say now is so true. I'm so truly blessed to have been taught by you. So I think it's very important that if you have good teachers, you tend to become better than the other students. And we were very, very lucky at AIMS to have such great gurus. So tip number 3 in this journey is learn from your teachers, not just academics, but also their attitude, their wit, and even their sense of dress. Be a sponge, imbibe, and imbibe all the time. The second phase of my life started when I joined AIMS as a faculty member. And I learned that best way to learn is to teach, and the best way to teach is to learn. So that is very, very important. And I actually just became a graying student. So I continued being almost a resident. I religiously attended seminars and JC. I think it was I almost attended these teaching exercises almost like a resident. I also took extra lectures for the residents so that it forced me to read and read and read more. And by doing this, I could keep up with the famous Sharmas, the Varmas, the Ramams, and the Guptas of the department. So tip number 4 is a teacher is always a student. And moreover, it makes you feel young and you are sure to get academic enlightenment. Now, I, as a woman, was more of a homemaker rather than an academician. I've always said whenever anybody has asked me, what is your profession? I always say I'm a homemaker and I'm a part-time dermatologist. But everybody wants to be popular. So I just wanted to find out if I was a popular teacher. Now, this was before a talk I had to give a couple of years back on Teachers' Day. So I looked up the all-know Google to find out what are the diagnostic criteria of being a popular teacher. And the images which I got from Google was something as angry and something as strict as that. Now, this is not what a popular teacher is likely to be. Since there were no diagnostic criteria for being a popular teacher, so we decided to conjure up. Now, this is because I had to give a talk. So we decided to find out what would the students want when they're asking for a popular teacher. So in a teaching round, which was attended by 35 JRs and SRs, so our department in dermatology at AIMS is very, very big. We asked the residents to respond to an impromptu devised feedback form. So while we were I was taking the rounds, I asked one of my SRs to make a form. And to ensure that all residents responded, we used coercive techniques. So we told them that your attendance will only be marked if you give us the feedback form back, but 2 gutsy residents abstained. So we finally had 33 experts, and using the E-Delphi consensus model to conjure the criteria, from the responses, we chose 3 most frequently words or phrases used. And these were: the teacher should have a sense of humor, should be compassionate, and should be knowledgeable. Now, is knowledge equivalent to information? Well, it is not, because knowledge you can get from Google, but information you can get from Google. And maybe now knowledge you can get from ChatGPT. I tried to ask ChatGPT to make a presentation for me on this. I would like to share the presentation sometime with you. It was hilarious. So what is important for the teacher to be knowledgeable is to impart relevant knowledge in the right way. So it should be articulate, encourage critical thinking. If using the PPT, not to read the slide like I am doing just now. Keep discussions lively and be able to address the doubts of the students. They were very important. Being compassionate was a very important response we got back. So the teacher should be approachable, friendly, understanding, should be unbiased. That was again a very important feedback we got, that the teacher should not be biased and should accept students' mistakes. And that is the reason why I mentioned earlier that Dr. Pandey was a very popular teacher, because he would accept our mistakes and he would say to err is human. And the teacher should promote all-round development of students. But what came out astonishingly passionately about the teacher was that they should have a sense of humor. And they said they enjoy the classes more. There is increased learning, increased attendance, decreased anxiety and stress, and increased test performance. And they are more likely to give to a teacher with a sense of humor a higher rating and popularity. So if you want to make the diagnostic criteria for a popular teacher, the major criteria is that they should have a sense of humor and be compassionate. And the minor criteria, they may be knowledgeable or not. The caveat to these diagnostic criteria, they've been conjured up based on best available inputs, which were used using extremely coercive and manipulative techniques. Adherence to these will not ensure popularity in every situation, and specificity and sensitivity of these need to be established. Now, my kids were very small when, as I mentioned earlier, I was predominantly a homemaker. So I had loads of time to kill because I would never attend conferences. So I decided to renovate my house. And in between choosing the tiles and getting the marble measured, I wrote a book. And I actually didn't refer to anything. I just wrote what I knew. The little I knew, I put it down in black and white and maybe a bit of color. And so this book came up because while I was renovating the house, I was not traveling for conferences. I decided to do something more productive. So this is my third child. I wrote this book, which seems to have worked. The book not only pushed me to hone my knowledge. So when you write, when you teach, you always increase your knowledge. I undeservedly got propelled into the league of academic elite. And very importantly, when I got my royalty the second time or the third time, there was suddenly an income tax scrutiny. So I was rubbing shoulders with the likes of Bachchans and the Khans. So in your career, I think it's important that you write an undergraduate book, because believe me, it's easy. And the best compliment I have received is, ma'am, you are world famous in India. The final icing on the cake in my whole career is when lot of my students, lot of my bachchas, as I call them, have actually done me immensely proud. So this is Dr. Apra, who has written a chapter in Fitzpatrick. Then they have won the quiz on several occasions. And this is actually the icing on the cake of my career when your students do really, really well. The tip number 6 is be a happy academician and enjoy life, because happiness is what all that matters. Even die-hard economists believe that human happiness index is the most important index and is more important than any socioeconomic index. And the final truth is, it's actually the story of being at the right place at the right time. I do not generally get stressed with academics, but I still have my stress busters. So I have my little garden on my terrace. And this is the heavenly view I get from my terrace garden, which is now a little bit masked by the overgrown trees, which we can't cut. And I thank all of you for your patient hearing. And I was telling some of you before my talk that one big, I think, change which we are trying to make in dermatology is to get a super specialization course in procedural dermatology. And we've initiated that at AIMS, and hopefully in this year or maybe beginning of next year, this course should start. Thank you very much for your patient hearing.
Thank you, ma'am, for giving us a glimpse of your inspiring journey.
Let me stop sharing.
I now invite Vincent, Senior Consultant. I now invite Dr. Maya Vincent, Senior Consultant Dermatologist by CPC Trivandrum, to talk about premature graying and newer treatment options. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Smriti. Shall I share my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I am Dr. Maya Vincent, working as Senior Consultant at Yogaraj Center for Dermatology and Cosmetology in Trivandrum. And I thank the organizers for inviting me to present this topic on premature graying of hair and newer treatment options. Well, this is a subject that we don't frequently discuss, and I congratulate them on the choice of topic, and I hope I am able to do justice to it. Man is uniquely endowed with a thick thatch of hair on his scalp, the function of which is debated, and any aspect of the scalp hair, that is the color, the length, and the thickness, is a matter of great concern, and any alteration will cause great psychological stress not only to the individual but also to the family members. Gray hair is also known by synonyms like canitis and achromotrichia, but the latter sometimes is used in conjunction with hypomelanotic syndromes also. The onset of aging is different for different racial and ethnic groups. And so, definition of premature graying can be graying before the age of 20 years in Caucasians, before 30 years in Afro-Americans, and Indian studies have put it at 25 to 30 years. The average age of graying in Caucasians is found to be 34 plus or minus 10 years. In blacks, it is 44 plus or minus 10 years. And Indian studies have put it at 39 plus or minus 10 years. The central pathogenesis in premature graying is a reduction in melanogenically active melanocytes in the anagen hair bulb, which leads to premature pigment loss and onset of graying. And it has got its relevance in psychosocial, cosmetic, medical, research, and commercial fields. Perhaps the commercial field is the only one that benefits extraordinarily from it. We all know that epidermal melanin is of two types, the brown or black eumelanin or the yellow or orange reddish pheomelanin. It is said that the pH and the cysteine levels of melanosomes influences the phenotype of the hair. When the pH is low, there is less tyrosinase activity, and this can push the melanin synthesis pathway into the pheomelanin pathway, and increased cysteine levels are also supposed to promote it. Again, mutations in melanocortin 1 gene is also found to influence the formation of pheomelanin. It can lead to the formation of blonde or auburn hair, and this is seen more in people from Northern Europe where there is less sun exposure. The basic unit for pigment in the hair follicle is the pigmentary unit, which is a pear-shaped black structure at the tip of the dermal papilla. And in that, the melanocytes are in contact with the keratinocytes, and they form the hair follicle melanin unit, just like the epidermal melanin unit. But there are certain differences. In the hair follicle unit, the ratio of melanocyte to keratinocyte is 1:5, whereas in the epidermal unit, it is 1:36. And again, melanogenesis in hair follicle is periodic. That is, it is active during anagen, suspended in catagen, or absent in telogen. In the epidermal melanin unit, it is a continuous process. Now, in this longitudinal section of the hair follicle, if you draw an imaginary line across the widest portion of the hair bulb, this line is known as the critical line of Auber. You can divide the hair bulb into two portions, an upper portion containing the pigmentary unit and the other layers of the hair follicle, and a lower portion which contains the hair matrix and the dermal papilla. The cells in the upper part are differentiated, whereas the cells in the lower part are undifferentiated pluripotent cells.
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt. Your slide is not being shared. Could you please check on that?
Okay.
There is a share screen option down, ma'am.
Now?
No, ma'am. You can't see it yet.
Can you see?
Yes, ma'am. It's visible now.
Can you?
Yes, ma'am.
Should I start?
No, you can continue.
I think you can continue, ma'am. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
So in this, this is the longitudinal section of the hair follicle, and if you can draw an imaginary line at the lowest portion of the hair bulb, and it divides the hair follicle into two portions, an upper portion containing differentiated cells and a lower portion with hair matrix and dermal papilla, which contains pluripotent undifferentiated cells. The cells in the lower portion are mitotically very active. And in an anagen bulb, and this line is known as the critical line of Auber. In an anagen bulb, in the pigmentary unit is very well shaped, and it contains the melanocytes, although they are not individually distinguishable. And in a gray hair bulb, in the bulb of a gray hair follicle, this pear-shaped object becomes fuzzy, and the melanocytes become rounded, oligodendritic, and they become individually distinguishable. Whereas in the anagen bulb, in the anagen hair, the lower portion matrix contains pluripotent cells, and the melanocytes are undifferentiated, unrecognizable. And when in the gray hair follicle, these melanocytes again become distinguishable in the hair matrix also as lightly pigmented rounded cells. During development, melanocytes migrate from the neural crest into the epidermis and from there into the hair follicle. And depending on the compartment in which they are lodged, they become DOPA positive or negative. Those that get lodged in the hair matrix express tyrosinase and become DOPA positive. And those that get lodged in the outer root sheath become DOPA negative, and they act as a reservoir for the hair matrix cells. And physiological kinetics occur from loss of regenerative capacity of the melanocytes. And on an average, it is seen that 7 to 15 cycles of replenishment from the outer root sheath to the bulb occurs in a lifespan of 40 to 45 years. Now, the reason for this loss of melanogenic capacity are manifold, and the main one is an oxidative stress. During anagen, enormous amount of melanin is synthesized, and this leads to accumulation of hydrogen peroxide in the follicle and can cause oxidative damage. And studies have also shown that gray hair lacks catalase and other antioxidant enzymes which can compound the issue. Oxidative stress can also be a result from ultraviolet rays, pollution, emotional factors, and inflammatory causes. Genetic conditions like progeroid syndromes and neurocutaneous disorders can lead to premature graying, whether it is due to a DNA defect in the DNA repair. Positive family history has been obtained in premature graying, where the mode of inheritance is thought to be autosomal dominant. Vitiligo and other autoimmune disorders can also predispose to premature graying due to oxidative stress. Vitamin B12 deficiency is seen to induce, but here the mechanism is unknown. Thyroid hormone disorders, because T3 and T4 are directly involved in melanogenesis. Then certain chemotherapeutic agents, like main one is antimalarials. Then you have the imatinib, interferon alpha, phenylthioureas, prostaglandins, and they are all seen to induce premature graying in some cases. Smoking and other substance abuse can also induce premature graying due to oxidative stress. Nutritional deficiency is seen as a cause, but here the condition is reversible, and it is seen in protein calorie malnutrition, copper deficiency, iron, zinc deficiency, etc. In Indian population below 25 years, several studies have shown low levels of ferritin, calcium, vitamin D3, HDL, and zinc. Certain medical conditions are seen to predispose to the development of premature graying, like coronary artery diseases, osteopenia, atopic dermatitis, cystic fibrosis, where it is again due to defect in the DNA repair, and Hodgkin's lymphoma, where the defect is thought to be at the molecular level with BCL2 receptors. Then infection like HIV can cause premature graying. In physiological graying, you can follow the rule of 50 roughly. On an average, 50% of population will have 50% gray hair by the age of 50 years. In Indian population, mean age of premature graying is put at 11 to 13 years, and the youngest age is seen to be at 2 years. Gray hair is coarser, thicker, more prone to weathering, and grows faster. In men, graying first occurs at the temples and sideburns, and then it progresses, involving the occiput the last. And in women, graying is first noticed at the boundaries of the scalp. The progression of graying has no relation with the age of onset of the graying. The white of the canities is because of an optical illusion. The keratin is pale yellow in color, and it appears white due to reflection or refraction of incident light. Gray hair is less likely to hold color, and laser removal also is challenging due to lack of melanin chromophore. Several studies have found association with premature graying. The Copenhagen City Heart Study and few other studies have shown increased incidence of cardiovascular diseases, but they haven't been able to demonstrate increased mortality in these people. Indian studies also have shown, especially Agarwal et al. Have shown that there is coronary artery disease in smokers with PGH is seen to be more. Bone mineral density is seen to be associated with premature graying in some studies, and they have noticed osteopenia, but there are conflicting reports also. And one study has attempted to associate it with hearing impairment, and they have found impairment at extended high frequency. This is because many of the neurocutaneous disorders, you find premature graying and also hearing impairment. But this study is inclusive and needs more in-depth studies. The differential diagnosis is from poliosis, neurocutaneous disorders in children like Griscelli, Chediak Higashi, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, Cross syndrome, etc. Metabolic syndromes like phenylketonuria, histidinemia, Oosthuizen diseases, And hypomelanotic conditions like albinism, vitiligo, nevus acromicus, alopecia areata, the regrowing hairs may appear gray. Canietis subita is a condition where there is overnight graying, seen to be associated with vitiligo, telogen effluvium, alopecia areata, and some psychogenic causes. Coming to management, premature graying is mainly a clinical diagnosis. In the light of the different studies that have come out, many clinicians prefer to investigate for any root cause if present, like TSH, vitamin B12, D3, copper, zinc, iron, etc. And if you find any root cause, treat the root cause. The role of trichoscopy is not well established, and there is no uniform scoring system or classification system also. Many Indian studies and Japanese studies have attempted to classify it on the basis of the number of hairs present, the area involved, like mild, moderate, severe, etc. But nothing has been standardized so far. And so coming to treatment options, only a few treatment options are available. An optimal therapy will be one that will permanently reverse the gray hair back to its original color without causing any damage to the shaft or to the scalp in the form of irritation. And we are yet waiting for such an ideal drug. And there are reports of successful medical treatments, mainly on anecdotal evidence, but none have been confirmed by trials. Pasricha et al. Reported successful use of 200 milligrams of calcium pantothenate daily in 2 girls, and after a period of 13 months, 1/3 of the hair was found to be converted. Now, converted hair means they have assigned that hair with proximal black portion and a distal gray part is termed as converted hair. In another study, they combined calcium pantothenate with gray hair avulsion at an interval of every 3 months, and they found this to be more beneficial. And few studies reported benefits with 200 to 300 milligrams of para-aminobenzoic acid for up to 4 to 6 months, but relapse occurred on stopping the drug. But there are other conflicting reports also. Brandon et al. Used 200 milligrams of PABA with 100 milligrams of calcium pantothenate and 50 grams of brewer's yeast for 8 months, but they couldn't find any success with it. Pavitran et al. Reported Puazol to be effective in 2/3 of their treated patients, and repigmentation has also been reported following prolonged use of latanoprost, which is a prostaglandin alpha eye drops. Now, here again is the controversy. Prostaglandin is one of the most potent stimulators of melanocyte growth and melanogenesis. But in studies, they have shown that use of prostaglandin can also induce premature graying. Sakia et al. In the Indian scenario has reported successful repigmentation in a 14-year-old girl following use of topical melitane 5% and oral vitamin supplements for 24 months. Melitane is an alpha MSH agonist. It increases melanogenesis, protects against DNA damage, and downregulates inflammatory mediators. A retrospective analysis of literature ending in 2019 revealed a lot of data on repigmentation of premature graying of hair. Darkening of hair has been reported as an incidental finding with drugs such as defibrotide, cyclosporin, corticosteroid, etretinate, L-thyroxine, verapamil, tamoxifen, levodopa, captopril, cisplatin, acitretin, triiodothyronine, clofazimine, and lenalidomide, which is a thalidomide derivative. These drugs may act by anti-inflammatory mechanism, as in cyclosporin, corticosteroid, and etretinate, or accumulation in the tissue, as in clofazimine, or stimulating melanogenesis, as in tamoxifen, levodopa, cisplatin, etc., or by unknown mechanisms, as in captopril, verapamil, etc. Anyway, to say that a drug has caused repigmentation, the patient should be able to retain the color, that is, the hair should retain the pigment even on withdrawal of the drug. But this could not be confirmed because many of these patients could not be taken off these drugs and they were continuing on the drugs. Repigmentation of previously gray hair has also been reported after inflammatory processes affecting scalp like carbuncles, candidiasis, and exudative dermatitis. Sporadic repigmentation has been reported in Addison's disease and neurodermatitis following X-ray irradiation and electron beam therapy. Shefrali et al. Reported darkening in 2 cases of porphyria cutanea, and in these cases, the reversal of the graying could be from radiation or cytokine-induced activation of outer root sheath melanocytes. Now, for us in the current scenario, we have certain remedies that are available, that is being used. Topical melitane 5% is available even in Indian market, but it's very costly. Grayverse is a new molecule which is developed by Lucas Meyer. It contains palmitoyl tetrapeptide, again an alpha MSH agonist, stimulates melanogenesis in the bulb, facilitates transfer to melanosomes, and lowers oxidative stress by stimulating catalase activity. Topical PUA is available. Various topical preparations containing phytic acid, amino acid, peptides, acetyl hexapeptide, capixyl P proteins are already available in the market. Then vitamin supplements and nutritional supplements are available. Calcium pantothenate and PABA for systemic use are also available in the market. Natural remedies. Many of these patients who come to us, they would have already tried all these natural remedies before coming to this. And some of these are still the mainstay in some of the patients. They are, some of them are black tea extracts, curry leaf paste and oil applied as a mask to the scalp, castor oil mixed with henna and lemon juice applied overnight, hair tonic with chamomile tea extracts and epigenin, which is a plant polyphenol, oil with henna, hibiscus and bhringraj used continuously, ashwagandha and brahmi mask to the root of the hair, shampoos with antioxidants, then coconut shells. After burning the shells, they are powdered and then they are combined with amla powder, henna and mustard oil made into a paste and left on the scalp for a long period and then washed off. All these are natural remedies which the patients try. Few commercially available natural products are also there, like Phyto RE30 applied to the root of the hair, supposed to boost pigmentation. Reparex contains enzyme glutathione reductase, removes oxidative stress. Just for Men has launched Control GX, which is a shampoo that restores pigmentation. Darknil by Givodin. It's a combination of taxifolin glucoside, which is a plant polyphenol, and acetyl tyrosine, which is a precursor of melanin, and it reactivates melanogenesis. Melanic from Oxford Biolabs contains copper, which is essential in the melanin synthesis pathway. DSM has developed a patented salt of steviol or isosteviol for topical cosmetic use for restoring hair color. Steviol, as you all know, is a natural sweetener that diabetics use. L'Oreal has come out with a patented product and they disclose that ellagic acid, it contains ellagic acid and its derivatives, and they are effective by increasing the level of glutathione in melanocytes. Multivitamin nutraceutical Getaway Grey is a supplement that replicates the catalase enzyme. Asma Mirza, an independent manufacturer, has come out with a dietary supplement containing black beans, black seeds, walnuts, and flax seeds, supposed to be a potent antioxidant that can retard, prevent, suppress, and even reverse the graying of the hair. And they have patented the product also. Nano alga pigments by Sacred Herbs. They use microbial pigment and nanoparticles to the root of the hair. These are some of the commercially available natural products. All of them may not be available in the Indian market, but available in other areas also. Now, all said and done, people finally resort to hair dyes to camouflage the gray hair. All these medications, although they have tall claims, they will only repigment the regrowing hair. That is, they convert the gray hair, but the already gray hair cannot be pigmented back to its original color. So to camouflage that, you have to use hair colors. And not only, even if such a medicine is available, for it to cover the whole scalp, it will take at least 1 year. So in the meanwhile, you have to resort to hair dyes. And hair dyes can be temporary or permanent color. And commonly natural hair dyes are prepared from Indian gooseberry, false daisy or bhringraj, lotus tree, henna, noni or Indian mulberry, and indigo ferra tinctoria. And natural hair dyes are hypoallergenic and non-toxic. Permanent hair dyes are most popular in the commercial market, but there is a risk of damage to the hair shaft due to oxidation. Temporary hair dyes will be washed off during shampooing because they do not penetrate the cuticle. And hair dyes not only help camouflage, but they also act as a protectant, protect the gray hair from photo damage. Some individuals experience allergic reaction from the use of hair dye with components in the hair dye, and it might also cause hair loss. Some of the pictures of the naturally available plants: Bringaraj, Indigofera, Indian mulberry or noni. This is available in northern Kerala in plenty. Henna plant, Ashwagandha, and the lotus tree. Now there are the newer medications. They currently focus on anti-aging compounds, and green tea polyphenols, selenium, copper, phytoestrogens, melatonin, and as yet unidentified substances from traditional Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic medicines are all being products of current interest. And use of hormonal anti-aging protocols are also being tried to darken the hair. Use of L-methionine to suppress the methionine oxidation, because methionine sulfoxide hydroxylase enzyme acts as a potent antioxidant, and this is said to be lacking in gray hairs. A new type of compound called SKQs. It contains a moiety called plastoquinone, a penetrating cation, and linked to a decane or pentane linker, and they specifically target the mitochondria and act as antioxidants. They also have anti-aging properties. Topical application of thyroid hormones are being tried. Shampoos and conditioners with a pill that will replace the lost catalase, and this catalase is released at the time of use of the product, and this prevents the formation of peroxide. Agrainist combines black oat spiny restero, and it is developed by a French manufacturer, and it is supposed to inhibit the free radicals. Now, in the pipeline, Saha et al. Described the use of a sphingolipid-rich placental extract, C18:0, to induce microphthalmia-associated transcription factor and activate quiescent melanocyte stem cells in gray-haired mice. These are all research that is going on in this field. And recently, flavonoids such as cherubin, luteolin, and hydroxygenquanin have been shown to regenerate pigmented hair when it is applied during wound healing in mouse models. Flavonoids are antioxidants and anti-inflammatory agents and can promote melanogenesis. Harris reports a new combination compound, RT1640. It contains cyclosporin A, minoxidil, and a pigment-promoting drug, and it induces repigmentation in mouse models. Now, this is the latest novel drug delivery system to hit the market, transfollicular delivery, where they target the hair follicle to deliver the drugs. And this can be achieved by topical liposomes to target the melanins, genes, and protect proteins selective to the hair follicles. Topical lipoplex can be employed. It employs DNA cationic lipid complex and facilitates transfection. Microneedling can be tried. Iontophoresis can be. Hello? Hello, am I audible? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
The skin sandwich system is the latest in this transfollicular delivery, where the stratum corneum is overlaid over an epidermis with the drug in between. In this case, both the stratum corneum and the epidermis should be from the same donor. Then you have the nanoparticle delivery, where you can use polymeric or lipid nanoparticles to deliver the molecule. Coming to gene therapy, as I said earlier, it is thought to be inherited as an autosomal dominant mode, and it may reflect genetically regulated early exhaustion of the reservoir seeding potential. And attempts are on way to correct this genetic problem, and thus prevent the onset of premature graying. A Y-linked ethnic trait has also been arrived at in Indian studies. They have found a link with the Y-linked gene because they have, in certain studies, they found that physiological aging of the gray scalp occurred, but the same person retained black hair on the pinna. And the studies proved that it is linked to the Y gene. At the molecular level, you have the Notch1 and Notch2 signaling pathways which are under this investigation, and they are required for maintenance of melanoblasts and melanocyte stem cells. Then BMPR2 and ACVR2 receptors, that is bone morphogenic protein 2 and activin 2A receptors. Individually, these play not much function in the melanocyte, but taken together, when they are reduced, in mutant mice, it was seen that they induce gray hairs. Stem cell factors and its receptor kit were shown to have an important role in human hair follicle melanogenesis. So all these areas are areas where the research is going on, and hopefully might come out with new drugs targeting these areas. Future prospects for premature graying is that the development of gray hair may not be an irreversible process in the future. And the implication that it is reversible may have an impact on the quality of life, and clinicians should be made aware of this. Most repigmentation medications play anti-inflammatory role, or they affect melanogenesis, or provide vitamin supplementation, or act on unidentified target in the hair pigment process. Although over 130 cases of medication-induced gray hair pigmentation is reported in the literature, these medications are being used by millions of people, and only a small portion has reported repigmentation. And keeping in mind their associated side effects, conducting trials with these toxic medications just for the purpose of reversing the color of the hair is prohibitive. But the information that we glean from these researches can possibly lead to the development of newer medication which can use these mechanisms beneficially without the similar adverse effect of the medication. And that is a very hopeful and bright outlook. Now, there are certain myths regarding the premature gray hair. That is, plucking of gray hair will induce surrounding hair to turn gray. There is a myth that if you pluck one gray hair, three hairs will become gray. And using hair colorants will turn the hair gray. This is also wrong, because when you are using hair colorant, you're constantly using the colorant. At the same time, you're progressing in your graying also, but you're not seeing it. That is not visible. So one fine day when you stop the coloring, all the hair will appear gray, and so patient assumes that it is because of the dye. And sunlight will bleach the hair and cause the hair to lose its pigment. This is also not true, because sunlight can induce gray hair, but the already pigmented hair that is there, it doesn't bleach it or cause it to lose pigment. Then there are so many myths regarding the premature graying of hair. I have collected only a few. Premature gray hair is a sign of impending wealth. This is popular in the African countries. It could be a very advantageous myth also. Now, these are my references. This is Team YCDC, all of us there with our mentor, guide, and teacher, Professor Yogiraj. Thank you for your patient hearing. Shall I stop sharing?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am, for that interesting session. If anybody would like to ask questions, please post it in the chat box. Pranaya Bagde, Assistant Professor, DMMC says about dermatologist in hair care in women, impact of social media. Over to you, ma'am.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello. My camera is visible. I think.
Camera is not visible, ma'am. Video is not visible.
Can I share the slide? Okay.
Yes, yes. You can.
I don't know video setting. So is the screen visible?
No, ma'am.
Your screen.
Is this visible?
It has started sharing, but not visible. We'll wait. Yes, your screen is visible, Pranay.
But still my video is not getting connected somehow. I don't know.
I think you can start if your video is not.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. So my topic is hair care in women and impact of social media. And it's a very relevant topic nowadays because we live in a digital media where the access to healthcare and access to the products that are available in the market is very easy. And why this topic? Because again, the impact of social media and hair care in women, that is a very commonest complaint that we have. So let me just go through the topics that I'm going to cover up in this session. So I'm going to tell about how to care like protection and cleansing of your hair and scalp, hair styling techniques, hair cosmetic products, how you can prevent hair damage, hair nutrition, and definitely how stress plays role in hair. And with all this, how social media is having a lot of role to play in these practices. Coming to the structure of hair, we all know that we have, this is a longitudinal and the vertical section of the hair. We have medulla, cortex, cuticle, we have external roots, all the things that grow. And also have the hair change hair from anagen to anagen. So these are the basics, and anything that change in the structure or in the hair cycle. So hair damage in women, why is it important? Because commonly women have hair, so and culturally and biologically, social as well as it has a lot of cosmetics. So because they have long hair, definitely their hairs get exposed to a lot of cumulative damage. External factors. So what are these external factors that can cause damage to hair? Like chronic light exposure, excessive wetting, repeated harsh procedures, hot combs, blow drying, or even simple repeated activities of rub combing or brushing. Sometimes even not taking any care of your scalp can also damage the hair. The loss of cuticle also can give rise to exposure of the cortex that we see as split ends and frayed tips. This is a common complaint that women come with, and feathering of hair. This is again very common complaint that women have because the hair becomes very dry and there are a lot of factors that play a role definitely for it. And environmental dust, dirt, sebum activation, and hair products. I don't have to mention that now women are working, so they travel, they get exposed to a lot of environmental chemicals, pollutants, allergens. So all these things, if it remains on the scalp surface, on the hair surface, it will damage, it will get accumulated, and definitely their hairs will look very dull and sometimes unmanageable. And also exposure to some variants of change. It could be either environmental change or it could be weather change, or it could be water. So like copper from the tap water pipelines. This is very common in Western countries where pipelines distribution of water, they are made of copper. So sometimes copper content in water will be very high, and that could also damage the hair. Similarly, people who use water from wells, or some people who are in the coastal area, they take bath in sea or they use seawater in their hair, and also have high mineral content, and that could also be damaging the shaft. So how to clean the scalp? So cleaning is the primary routine that a woman or anyone should do, because we have to clean the scalp and the hair. What comes first? Should we oil the scalp? So yes, oil the scalp is very important. So advisable is an oil application on the scalp, which could be once in a week to twice in a month. Which oil to be used? Coconut oil is the best, but there are a lot of commercial products that are available, and those products say that they have additional benefits, but warm coconut oil is the best solution to oil your scalp, preferably before you take the head bath. It helps in increasing the moisture and also increases the elasticity. Then washing the scalp and hair, you should wash it according to the sebum secretion on your scalp, or how oily is your scalp. So frequency depends upon that. So ideally you should wash once in a week to every other week. And if your scalp is very oily, you may need to wash it every day. If you are a person who has involved in sports activities, maybe you sweat a lot, so you have to wash it frequently. If you are treating your hair chemically and your hair seems very dry, then again you have to oil and wash your scalp. And in old age women, many a times that they have dry skin, so frequent shampooing may not be advisable, but yes, oiling and mild shampooing could be advised. So when you are shampooing, you have to concentrate on the scalp, not on the length of the hair. So first you have to cleanse the scalp properly, primarily, and then you have to wash the entire length of the hair. So washing only the hair is not the proper cleaning. So scalp should be focused first. Then it is advisable to use a good conditioner after every shampoo, because shampoo will cleanse your hair, but conditioner will actually improve the strength and elasticity of your hair shaft. It will also make it more shine and also protect it from the UV light. And many a times the conditioner, people use it from the scalp up to the tip of the hair, but ideally it should be used at the tip of the hair, not on the scalp. to choose your shampoo and conditioner according to your hair type, like what type of hair you have. You have oily, sticky scalp or dry scalp, or how your hairs are, what treatment are you taking for your hair. Are you using any coloring agent or any chemical on the hair? Depending on that, you should choose your shampoo and conditioner. And also you always have to protect your hair when you go in the rain or when you are swimming, because that is also very important, because there are pool chemicals which are there in the swimming pool which can also damage your hair. So you also have to protect your hair when you are swimming. Now coming to the hair cosmetic products, because this hair care industry is so big and we have lots of products available. Sometimes whether it is pharmaceutical or cosmeceutical, there is no differentiation, so everything just looks same. So it's very important to understand what hair care products are there and how they are going to cause some changes onto your hair. So we have two categories. Category one are the hair cosmetics, which include shampoo, conditioner, serums, hairsprays, wax, gels, mousse, and pomades. And category two, they include certain procedural products like hair colors, bleaching agents, straightening agents, or perming agents. So both of them are actually causing some change into your hair shaft. Some will have beneficial change, but some definitely can have a permanent damage change also. Coming to the category one, which includes shampoo. I just mentioned you have to cleanse your scalp. So basic function of shampooing is to cleanse the hair. And especially nowadays, we have a lot of shampoos with a lot of adjectives saying that they make it shine, they will increase the volume, they will make it more easy to comb, they can protect your hair. So a lot of adjective-based shampoos are also available, but you have to know what it contains basically. So the basic ingredient of a shampoo is a detergent, which is actually a surfactant effect, then a foaming agent, a conditioner, a thickener, opacifier, sequestering agent, pH adjuster, preservatives, and additives. These are all the components of a shampoo, and these are the basic components. So any shampoo you take, it will have it. So detergent, these are surfactants, and they are supposed to wash off the grease and the dirt on your scalp. And the commonest popular chemical that we use here is sodium laurate and ammonium laurate. So this, what does it do? Definitely it cleans your scalp, but it may make it dry. So you have to again use a conditioner, as I mentioned before. Then next is foaming agent. They say the shampoo which gets good foam is a good one. It actually equates the efficacy. Greasy hair definitely will get benefited by the foaming agent, but not the dry scalp. Conditioner, some shampoos are there which are 2-in-1, so you get the shampoo and conditioner together, and this actually helps in case of dry and dull hair. Thickeners and opacifier. If somebody has a very thin hair genetically and they want to improve their aesthetic sensibility, they have to use certain products, shampoos, which can actually give a volume booster. Here, there are various aqueous and non-aqueous agents that are used, and they are also surfactants. So they combine with the anionic surfactant and they form a viscosity onto the hair, and that is how the volume will be more and it looks thicker. Sequestering agents, these are again detergents. So these are actually used in case you are using a hard water. So if you are living in a climatic area where you are using a hard water, this will help. So what does it do? It actually acts like a soap. Definitely, it's a detergent. So it prevents the formation of the scum, because when it is a hard water and a lot of mineral content, the hair shaft will have the scum formation around it. So these sequestering agents will cause prevention of that scum formation onto the hair. So definitely your hair looks better and it will not give that sticky look. pH adjuster, again, very important, because the alkaline pH, if it goes high, it is damaging to your hair. And the pH adjusters we have in shampoo is citric and lactic acid. Then additives, definitely you have a lot of additives like natural oils, vegetable oils and all that to enhance the effect of the shampoo. Conditioner, as I mentioned, there are different variety of conditioners you get. What do? They actually, when you shampoo, the cuticles get slightly lifted. And that is why when you comb without conditioning, your hairs become very ruly and you feel that they are very frizzy. So what does the conditioner do? It flattens the cuticle and seals the gap that get exposed after shampooing, and that is why it prevents the further damage to the hair cuticle. And there are different type of conditioning agents that are there in conditioners, like you have esters, alcohols, humectants, silicones, and certain natural products also, like wax, like honeybee wax, or certain vegetable oils. So there are different types, like depending on your hair type and the type of work you do. You can have instant conditioners, so you can just apply it and rinse it off, and that is just for some time the effect will last, and it improves the compatibility of the hair. Then there are leave-on conditioners and there are leave-in conditioners. So leave-on conditioners are actually better because they have a protection mechanism and they protect your hair from withering. They are available in a lot of formulations, but the problem with that is they are very short-lived. So you have to reapply it again, maybe 2 to 3 weeks, you have to reapply it again. Leave-in conditioners are the one which are helpful in curly and unmanageable hair. Here they have a lot of mineral and vegetable oils, but when you have unmanageable hair, you have frizziness and brittleness. So leave-in conditioners will have, but not so in the straight hairs. Then deep conditioner, this is a common term we hear in the parlor, that they do deep conditioner whenever they are doing a procedure on your scalp or the hair. So here actually, what do? They again apply some vegetable oil or creams which have wax and glycerols and sterols, and they actually cause smoothing of the cuticle, and that is how your hair looks very glossy and shiny. Then anti-hair loss conditioners are also there, and that prevents the brittleness of the hair, and that causes less protection to the cuticle and less damage from the sunlight also. And they just adjectively say that it is anti-hair loss, but they do not have any particular component of anti-hair fall product. Then certain hair sprays and fixatives. This again we see commonly that a lot of people who are into a business of media, they always have to set their hair, they have to use a spray, they cannot afford to just be the natural way their hairs are, so they have to enhance their effect, so they have to use the hairsprays or fixatives. And this is very common practice nowadays in common people also. So it actually the spray actually makes the hair entangle together. It holds that particular hairstyle that you have done for a longer period of time, and that is what the benefit is. They all methyl acrylate copolymers. So again, that helps in holding your hairstyle. So this is also a very common practice in women. Hair gels. We see hair gel practice in men to put proper hairstyle or spike their hair, but it's also common in women, and it also helps in styling the hair, and similar effect like a spray. Then hair waxes, hair mousse, and pomades. These are again certain products that are used to actually maintain your hairstyle and to reduce the dryness of the hair and the frizziness of the hair. So those people who have thin hair, who have frizzy hair, who gets a lot of blow onto the hair while traveling or anything, they have to set their hair by using the hair wax or hair mousse. And mousse are preferred usually because they are the foam, so easy to apply. It doesn't give you that sticky feeling and it stays on. Shine sprays. This is also very common. Usually they do in a ceremony function and all, just to make your hair look better. So these sprays are applied after your hairstyling is done, and that makes it a little bit shiny and lusher. Heat protective products. Actually, these products are very important because anytime hair cosmetic procedure is being done by using heat, or like ironing, straightening, or anything, heat protective products are to be applied on the hair, which will prevent the damage of the thermal damage to the hair. So they are again like petrolatum and mineral oils and silicone, which primarily cause a thermal barrier, and that is why the damage to the hair shaft can be prevented. And they are commonly done by the professional salons where the hair cosmetic procedures are done. Camouflage product. This is very commonly we see when people have baldness. So if you have a particular area of baldness on the scalp or thinning on particular area, they just use this cosmetic products, apply on that area, so that it gives the illusion of having hair on that area. The common keratin fibers and cellular fibers are commonly used. What do they do actually? There is a static electricity. So when the fibers are applied, they adhere each other and give the illusion of having the dark fiber, gives the illusion of having the hair on that area, and that is how the bald area could be covered. Even cover sticks are also available, which are pigment sticks with wax sticks actually, which has a pigment, so they can just put a stroke on that area wherever they want to increase the density of their hair. Second category is the products that are used or the procedure that are done on the hair. So hair coloring, my previous speaker mentioned about the hair coloring in premature hair. Nowadays, you do not have to have gray color to hair your to color your hair, because hair coloring is nowadays a choice. You want to change your hair color just like that. So what type of hair dye you use, that depends on what type of desire you have, depending on your expectation. So hair coloring molecules, they have different size. You have temporary colors, you have semi-permanent colors, and you have permanent hair dyes. So in order of your desirable expectations, you can choose your hair color and you can apply it on the scalp. But you have to understand that permanent hair color causes hair damage. It changes certain structure onto your shaft. It changes the bonding in the hair shaft, and definitely that has to be understood. You have gradual hair colors, which are actually the metal salts in the liquid form. You just have to apply it, and it will give color, but it doesn't remain for a long time. And it's not the what you call the perfect shade of color, so you have to reapply it again. Like we have a product called Vegetal, so every 10-15 days they have to keep applying it, because it is a gradual hair dye. And sometimes this color may fade very easily. Not even for 10 days it remains, so it fades very easily. So gradual hair color can be used only for the short time, like you have a function to attain for 3 to 5 days, it will just be there and then it will go off, and it will not have much damage, obviously. Temporary hair colors, again, these are the acid dyes which are used to color the hair, and they have larger molecular size, so they do not go inside the cuticle, so the damage is also less, but you will have temporary hair color onto your scalp. Semi-permanent hair dyes, these are the products actually which are available in a lot of conditioners also. So you get the hair color, so you just have to condition your scalp hair with that, and you get the hair color also. So semi-permanent hair dyes are used along with shampoo and conditioning, and they are the ones which can have allergy sensitivity, so you have to test those products. And they contain aromatic amines commonly, so and they do not need the activation. Like any hair dye you use, you have to have an activator, that is hydrogen peroxide. So they do not need the ammonia or hydrogen peroxide for activation, so they are very simply used by people in shampoos and conditioner to color their hair, and they are semi-permanent. Again, the color will not last long, so they have to reapply, but it will definitely give that shade of color that they want. Then comes the permanent hair care, and this is also very common practice nowadays, that people want to color their hair permanently. Let it be any shade of color, from gray to brown to dark brown to black, any shade of color you can do that. Here what happens, there is a permanent oxidative damage to the hair, and the dyes used are commonly the paraphenylene diamine or toluidine diamine sulfate. So these are the oxidative, there is an oxidative reaction after these chemicals are coming in contact with the hair shaft. So you again have products which are hydrogen peroxide free and ammonia free, but still the para dyes that are there, they are the one which gives the permanent color, and they have tendency for allergic reaction. So whenever permanent hair color is being done, the patch test has to be done. What do they do actually? So this color molecule, so they do not pass through the cuticle, bound to the cortex, and that is how the color remains there. And you can actually have different shades, as I mentioned, and the color remains in the hair, but you have to do the touch up. So here again, the permanent hair color, whatever is done will remain, but whatever new hair growth is happening, you have to keep coloring that. So the touch up process is very common in permanent hair coloring. PPT derivatives are there, so how to mix, how to apply, you should be very conscious on using the products. It should be ideally done by a professional at salon, need not be done at home, and patch testing is very much necessary. So as I mentioned, you have 3 types of hair dye that are used. So permanent hair dye you should be very careful about, because they're permanent and they can damage the hair shaft permanently. Hair bleaching. Nowadays, we see a lot of youth coming with streaks of different colors. So that is a trend now, because they don't feel happy with their routine color of scalp hair, and they just want to make it little highlight the color in a streaks way. It could be from any color like yellow, white, blue, green, anything. And here also what happens, you're actually bleaching the hair. And you have to understand that the bleaching is happening of eumelanin, not the pheomelanin. Here again, you have H2O2 and ammonia, and it opens the cuticle. How the bleaching happens? So it is getting in the cuticle, it opens the cuticles and it removes the eumelanin of the cortex. And that is how you get the depigmentation of the melanin in the hair shaft. So you can have any color that you want to have by hair bleaching. And here again, the conditioning is very important. So after hair bleaching, you have to follow certain products, specialized shampoos and conditioners every time you are cleansing your scalp. Hair lightening, again, very common. What is the difference between lightening and bleaching? Again, the bleaching, you are completely bleaching the hair shaft, removing that. Here it is done in patches. So you're just lightening the color. You're not completely removing the pigment from there. Here again, H2O2 and ammonia is used, but the foils are applied and you are only focusing on particular sheet of hair that you want to color. So here again, you can use a temporary color, permanent color, or semi-permanent color. Straightening, this is again very common. So straightening is a process wherein you have to do ironing. You have to do a lot of heat protection gels are applied. You have to iron and you have to condition and you have to apply certain chemicals to actually cause the bond between your hair shaft, the cystine bonds between the hair shaft to change into the lanthioning. So that is why this procedure is called as lanthionization. And it is to be understood that it is a permanent change into your hair shaft. Your hairs are not going to be the same later on. And the quality of the hair shaft completely changes. So what does it do? It causes the swelling of the shaft. And there is a lot of heat that is being given to the hair shaft. And that is how it causes the change into the cystine bond. Here, the product that are used are sodium or potassium hydroxide. And the steps of straightening are, you have to first use a hair protection spray, then soften the hair, rinse it, apply the conditioner, then iron it, and then you have to rinse it again. So it's a quite a long procedure, and it's a very damaging procedure also. So at the end of the straightening, you know that 20 to 30% of your hairs are hair volume is lost. Also, the strength of and elasticity of your hair is lost. And a lot of patients come to the dermatologist saying that I did this procedure and after that my hair fall has increased. So there is no permanent solution for it because they have damaged the hair cuticle permanently. Again, people who have straight hair, they want to perm it and make it curly. So it's the same way like how you are straightening, but here you are curling the hair. So almost the steps are similar. So here again, the curls are created by applying certain oxidizing agents. And there is again the disulfide bond is being broken and the shaft is being damaged. These people also get the hair fall issues commonly. So what care do you have to do when you are using a hair cosmetic? Whenever you are dyeing, you have to protect your hair. That is the first thing. And you cannot just get exposed to extremes of environmental situation, the blow, the sunlight, everything you have to take care of. And you have to use specialized shampoos and conditioners. And again, you cannot have long-term procedures being done like that, because you have to take breaks in between and let your normal hair grow, or your scalp damage can also happen. Hair dye test I mentioned, so you can have a open test that usually people do just on the behind the ear area or on the forearm area, or they just apply a small quantity of the dye that they are going to use with a cotton swab, and let it set there for 48 to 72 hours and observe if there is any change, any redness, any blister, any itching, any induration, or any abnormality happening on that area. If anything is there, they are not supposed to use that dye. The Epicutaneous test, again, that is a standard test that you have to do, actually the allergen, we combine it in a petroleum jelly, white petroleum jelly, and that is being applied, and it has to be again monitored, and the reaction is being documented. So commonly it is done for PPD, paraphenylene diamines. When you hairstyle, also certain things you have to take care that whenever you are taking a shower, after that you should actually not rub your scalp with the towel. You have to wrap it in the towel after the bath. You also should not comb the hair when they are wet, and you have to keep the brushing minimum. You have to use the white toothbrushes, hairbrush, and also the styling products that you are using, you should not use it often, or you should not use it for a longer period of time. And it is ideal to give little time for your hair to get it air dry than using a blower, hot air to dry it. Ironing of the hair is again damaging, so heat protective product should be used, and you should make it medium heat application onto the hair. And a certain type of hairstyles for a long time should also be avoided, because that again gives the tension on the hair, and it can again give to traction alopecia. So these things should be taken care when you are doing a hairstyling. So yeah, so this is all being covered. And protection of your scalp hair by physical protection, like wearing cap or hat, and wearing scarves. This also helps a lot when you are doing a hairstyling. These are certain practices that people do and that can damage. I just mentioned you should not rub your hairs when you shampoo. You actually have to just cover it with a towel and let it air dry. You should use a conditioner ideally after every shampoo. And do not brush your hair when they are wet. Let it dry, and then you should brush. Do not use a blow dryer, hot comb, or curling iron, because that is damaging to the hair. Do not apply styling products for a longer time. You have to take breaks in between. And as I mentioned, avoid traction on the hair. So keep changing your hairstyles often. Don't stick to one hairstyle for a longer time, because that will give the easy pluggability of the hair on that area and visible alopecia. If you are doing any coloring or perming or any procedures, you have to follow the routine that you are using proper products for your hair. Proper cleansing solutions, and you are protecting your hair from any damaging effect of those chemicals. Also you have to take care. So coloring, perming is very easy, but the post care is very difficult. So if somebody wants to go for it, they ideally should understand how I am supposed to take care of my hair later on. Then again, brushing the hair for long, they say if you brush the hair for long, the vasodilation will happen, so blood circulation will increase and my hair will grow faster. It's not so. You should not brush your hair very vigorously and very often. You should use a white tooth brush to comb your hair. And again, as I mentioned, 100 strokes a day and all that they say, but it's actually a myth. So you should limit it. Whatever is needed, you should do, and you should limit the strokes onto your scalp also. If some people are using a extension on the hair, or if they are using a patch on the scalp, or they are using a wig, they again have to take care that they have to take care of their scalp well, because the application of extension will again give pulling onto your normal hair. Application of the weave or the cap or the wig that you are using will cause sweat retention and irritation onto your scalp. So all those things you have to take care, and you have to keep monitoring. Some people use a weave for a month or two, and then they come off with the irritant contact dermatitis. So all those things they have to take care. Every 15 days, 20 days, they have to go and take off their wig or hair extension to see if everything is all right. And again, I mentioned you have to take care when you go to the pool, when you go into the direct sunlight, extreme sun exposure. It comes very basic is hair nutrition. So for hair care routine, nutrition is prime. So what nutrition a woman should have to have good hair? So protein is the prime because our hairs are made of protein. So you should have plant and animal source protein in your diet regularly. You should have all sorts of vitamins. You should have fat soluble and water soluble vitamins. You should have enough of minerals and trace elements. Very importantly, iron, calcium, zinc, magnesium, and healthy fats. So this is a nutrition, I would say a balanced nutrition should be there for the good hair care. And it is commonly seen that people who have protein energy malnutrition or who have eating problems, eating disorders, who starve a lot to maintain their weight, they are on the vigorous weight reduction program, they get a lot of hair fall. Because the calorie restriction, the protein restriction, and the psychological eating issues, all those things will cause damage to your hair cycle. It will cause damage to your hair matrix. So the energy supply to your hair is reduced, the blood supply to your hair is reduced, the nutrition to your hair is reduced, and then you grow for the chronic telogen effluent stage. So the dictum is you should have a balanced diet. Every nutritive component should be there in your diet, and predominantly should have protein, vitamins, and minerals, and good fats. And iron is the commonest deficiency that we see in Indian women. So supplementing iron is a wise choice in every female who say that she has a hair fall, because we go through a lot of physiological change, and every time, every month, cyclical bleeding will happen. So iron is the thing which is deficient in a lot of women. And supplementing biotin or not is a debatable issue. So that is an extra supplement that we give for hair care. Now coming to stress. A lot of women, they come and they say that I have a lot of stress, and that is one of the reasons that my hair fall is coming. And many women again come and say that I have no stress, but still I'm having hair fall. So how to differentiate that? So yes, emotional impact of hair loss is there, and hair itself has an emotional component, because as I mentioned, it's a visible organ, it has a social appeal, it has a cosmetic appeal. So that has an emotional impact. Sometimes it creates a lot of distress if somebody is losing hair, or a lot of comparison will happen, and they always say that I don't have hair like she has, or I don't have hair that is expected like that. So it has a profound effect on the emotional well-being of a person. And stress itself, either it is a physical stress or emotional stress. Physical stress in a way that continuously working, not taking enough rest, there is sleep deprivation, the sleep disorder, and eye strain, and anything of that can give rise to stress to a woman. And emotional stress, definitely you have psychological stress, thinking about something, and feeling low, having some anxiety, having some emotional conflicts happening. So these are all physical or mental stressors that can actually induce the primary hair fall. It could aggravate the existing hair fall, or it could be a response because of the self-perpetuation. So that goes as a vicious cycle. But definitely stress is a negative hair growth modulator, and it has an impact. And it is known that it causes some changes in the immunity, it causes some changes in the hormonal levels. Everything that goes into the body will affect the hair cycle and the hair growth. So again, this was a basic of what all hair care routine that a woman follows. Now coming to the social media. Now is the era of having, I don't think anybody now doesn't use any of it. Like we all have Instagrams, Facebook, Messenger, YouTube, WhatsApp, Telegram, Twitter, and many more to come. So we are connected by this, but sometimes it could act as a boon or the ban. So how it goes? Yes, social media is good. Whenever you are seeing a reel, whenever you are seeing an ad, whenever it is a sponsored ad, or whenever it is an info by a company or a product or a person, you feel quick access to the information. And there are a lot of do-it-yourself DIY activities that tell you that do this, mix some coffee powder with lemon in a hot water, drink this, you lose weight, or apply the curd and egg, mix it well and apply on your scalp. That is a good. These are all do-it-yourself activities. People go through it constantly, and it has an impact on their mind, and they try doing it. And you also, because of social media, because there are sponsored ads and there are a lot of marketing, sales promotion is happening, it is convenient to buy the products. It's just one click away. So if you have a hair issue, if you want to get your hairs better, if you want to use certain products, you have influencers also to tell you that this is good and that is good, I used it. Even let it be a celebrity influencer or a common man influencer. So those impacts are more. So a common person tend to fall for that. Then they go on reviewing, they go on seeing the rating, then they start feeling, okay, a lot of people are liking it, a lot of people have used it, so let me just try. So that is a boon while using a social media for hair care practices. But what are the negative aspect of it? You have a quick access to information, but do you know, is the information right? Do you know if the information is coming from the right source? Is it a scientific evidence-based information? You're not aware of that. Again, you are treating yourself from a quack, I would say. So self-treatment is bad. You do not know what you have. You do not know what condition you have. You cannot assess that. And without assessing, you are self-treating, and that is very dangerous. Again, it can give rise to use of certain products which you may not tolerate, use of certain medication which you may be not tolerating, or it is not advisable for you. That can give permanent damage. So the dose, duration, side effect of the products that are available online are not known. And the basic problem that you have is not being addressed. So the root cause of your hair issue is not addressed. And on top of it, the very pathetic or a difficult situation is you develop so much of unrealistic expectation because you saw somebody on the reel who is telling that she used it and she got this volume of hair and her hair fall has completely gone. So you develop those unrealistic expectations without understanding your own problems, what you are going through. So social media, yes, it influences people in a good way, in a bad way. It is our wise decision what to believe and what to go ahead with, and where you have to stop listening to that, and you have to go through proper analysis of what problems you have and see a physician. So the psychosocial impact of social media is there is a fear of rejection. All others are doing, they are getting better. I will get rejected if I'm not doing that. If you're not using this, why are you not trying? So it's available there, you can just buy. Then you get a social withdrawal. It creates anxiety. It also creates body shaming. You start comparing yourself with other people, and it also creates unrealistic behavior in you. You get that desperate need to get treated. Most commonly, it is a self-treatment, and you start using those products. And somehow the social influencers, they create a blind approach for you. You just blindly follow that. You go into the misbelief without even making your conscious attempt to understand the things, and you go into wrong non-scientific practices, and those are sometimes very much damaging for your hair health and otherwise general health also. And when this process happens, the ultimate end result of it, if it is not done in a proper way, you have a permanent psychosocial impairment. What is being damaged is damaged. So it is an irreversible change, and that causes a lot of psychosocial impairment. We have a condition called psychogenic pseudoequilibrium. What is it? Here, the woman comes and says that she is losing hair, she has disfiguring hair loss, and she's just going bald. But when a doctor is seen or when other people are seen, there is nothing abnormal. So it is an objective hair fall that they have. Sometimes it may be a very slight hair fall, but they will exaggerate it. So what is the issue here? It is a presumed occupied thought of having a hair loss. And this type of people are very difficult to treat. These are the commonest people who go for this social media influencers. They apply things, they promote things, and then they keep telling. So the underlying pathology you always have to understand. Body dysmorphic disorder, again, because we deal with the industry of cosmetology where aesthetics is important, looks are important, we do procedures on face, we enhance their appearance, but is there underlying body dysmorphophobia? It's very important to know. Is there an imagined deficiency or disfigurement? How much time are they spending looking at their particular body area? Is there intense suffering because of that? And all these things will not be explained depending on what type of work they do or where they are living and how their socioeconomic status is. So body dysmorphophobia is not uncommon. We do see that, but we have to sit with the patient and know that do they really have these issues? Here in body dysmorphophobia, they always have a comparison between how they want to be and how they are. So the self-actual and the self-ideal is always fighting. And in this fight, they keep on repeating certain activities like looking at the mirror, doing a lot of procedures on the scalp. One time they'll do perming, then they'll do straightening, then they'll do coloring. So this keeps happening. And the psychological issues are so much that sometimes it is difficult to understand. It is is it a depression, delusion, or is it simply an over concern? So we have to understand this component of self-actual and self-ideal clearly. Again, women with eating disorder. Women who have eating disorder, 80% of them come to the dermatologist because they have some or the other skin issues. It could be dry skin, it could be hair fall, it could be pigmentation, it could be anything. So this is again a very common thing in women who want to lose weight, who want to look slim. So anorexia nervosa and bulimia nervosa, both the things we have to sort out, that if a woman comes to you, is she on diet? Is she following the crash diet? Is she following weight reduction plan? We have to know, because the hair obviously will show some changes if you are doing something related to your nutrition and your physical activity. What role does a dermatologist can play? So the very important management strategy in a hair care is counseling, awareness, reassurance. That is the mainstay. Whatever comes to diagnosis, whatever comes the hair problem or issue with the female, you have to counsel, educate, make them aware and reassure that what it is, how it is. Then comes all. You can supplement them, you can modify their diet, you can ask them to avoid the drugs or triggers that they are doing. Physical, emotional issues you have to rule out, you have to manage their stress. Also have to advocate certain lifestyle changes if they are found to be the triggers in their case, and certain habits definitely they have to avoid. A dermatologist had to sit with the patient, make them understand these are the causes for hair. In your case, any of this may be a cause. So we have to evaluate that. We can show them by doing a trichoscopy. So this is how your hair looks and this is what I'm suspecting. So before you go for any procedural onto your, definitely can ask. The commonest thing we are complete blood count, ferritin level, vitamin levels, ESR, thyroid function, blood sugar levels, any PCOD issues, even hormonal issues, infective pathology, acute infection, chronic infection. So all these things we can evaluate and come to the conclusion of their hair fall. Then again, here the psychological aspect have to be addressed. Oral supplements to give, not to give. I have just listed here that iron folic acid deficiency is the commonest in Indian women. So that goes as a first choice of oral supplement you should give. Vitamin D and calcium, second. Vitamin B complex, zinc, and protein. So these are the main component of oral supplements the woman should have if they are lacking. If it is measurable vitamin levels or iron level, we can definitely investigate and correct it. Then comes whether to give biotin or not. Previously, we used to give 5 mg, 10 mg. Now it is 35 microgram that is being addressed. Because biotin is a vitamin which is self-synthesized in our gut. So 35 microgram is enough to give. A lot of females come and say, I'm taking biotin. So they just expect that everything is going to be all right because they are taking biotin. But it's not just the biotin that is needed. You have to have other component of a balanced diet that are needed for the good hair growth. Then a lot of medication you all know are available, so that depending upon the condition that a female has, a dermatologist can write. But what role do a dermatologist have to play here in hair care practices in women, and the role of social media and the impact it had is you have to make patient aware. You have to give the right information to them about the hair care practices and the products that they are using. So here my question to all the dermatologists is, can a dermatologist be an influencer in social media? If it happens so, I think a lot of other non-medical influencers will be cut down there, and maybe the people who are on social media will get the right information. But that is again a questionable area where a dermatologist should become a social media influencer or not, and it is an individual choice. So with this mind thought, I'm ending my talk here, and I wish all the women and men out there International Happy Women's Day. And now women are not just about what you call the gender equality thing. It's beyond that. We have a lot of community people participating and working together. So womanhood, the feminism is all coming together, and we will we have to work together for the equality for all, actually. So this year's theme is digital, that is innovation and technology for gender equality. So yes, I think in the digital world, a dermatologist also has a role to play in creating that opportunity for women out there. So I'm thanking the organizers and IADVL Cell for having me here for this talk. And thank you very much for patient listening to all.
Thank you, ma'am, for that informative session. We have a question by Raji Jayakrishnan. Why are conditioners applied only to the hair tip and not to the scalp?
I had mentioned it because when you wash the scalp, the cuticle is frayed at the tip. At the shaft, it will not be frayed like that. So we have to fill up the gap at the tip. That is why you have to use it at the tip, to fill up the gaps there and avoid the fraying of the hair and drying of the hair at the tip, because the shaft is attached to the scalp, isn't it? So you do not need it there. There the fraying won't happen, but it happens commonly the hairs which are actually down at the tip. So I would say halfway. If you have a long hair, maybe half down hair, you can just use the conditioner.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions can be posted in the chat box. Since we don't have any questions, we'll move on to the next session. Now I call upon Dr. Sapna Surendran for the vote of thanks. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Smriti. Good morning, respected teachers, invited speakers, senior dermatologists, colleagues, and dear friends. It gives me immense pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks to thank each and every one of you who were part of the CME today. First and foremost, I thank Dr. M.M. Faisal Sir, President of IADVL Kerala, for presiding over today's meeting and providing his valuable guidance and support for the smooth conduct of the meeting today. Next, I thank Dr. Anuradha KB, Honorary Secretary, IADVL Kerala, for delivering the welcome address and for her meticulous efforts towards organizing today's CME. And I also thank the Chairperson of Online Academic Cell, Dr. Vinita Varghese Panikar, Convener Dr. Joanne, and all members of the Online Academic Cell for bringing together this excellent program today. Next, on behalf of the members of IADVL Kerala and on my own behalf, I express my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Neena Khanna, former Dean of AIMS New Delhi and HOD Amrita Hospital Faridabad, for taking us through her incredible life journey and providing inspiration to all who listen to her today. Next, I extend my sincere thanks to Dr. Maya Vincent, consultant dermatologist at YCDC Trivandrum, with whom I had the good fortune to work with a few years back. Thank you, ma'am, for that excellent talk on premature graying and providing us with valuable insights on the newer treatment options. Next, I would like to thank Dr. Pranaya Bagde, Assistant Professor, DMMC Wayanad, and a dear friend and colleague for enlightening us on the topic hair care in women, the social media impacts and the role of the dermatologist. Last but not the least, I thank the delegates for their participation and making today's event a grand success. Thank you one and all. Jai IADVL, Jai Hind.
Here we come to the end of today's online CME. There are several examples of women achieving excellence in each and every professional front. And it's time that we give recognition and empowerment every other day, and not only this day, but every other day. Here's wishing you all a very happy Women's Day. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you.